Alright, well, the divisional round of the 2014 playoff season. Carolina ended up beating Arizona, by a decent amount, comparing how bad Arizona is as a football team. Third string quarterback, third string running back, defense that has faltered in the last month and given up like god awful amounts of yards per game. So coming into the last stadium in the world, the best home field advantage that any team could ask for, and you're going against the number one defense. Yeah, it's going to be a long ride, plane ride back home. So stats, did this last year with stat wise comparing the two teams in the playoffs. I figured I'd do it again. Total offense per game, we ended up being ninth in the league. Carolina finished up 16th. We had 375.8 yards per game, while Carolina had 346.7 yards per game on offense. Passing yards per game, they got the edge there. They had 219.4, good for 19th. We only had 203.1 yards passing, good for 27th. Then again, we're a run-heavy based offense, so you know, as we're not going to get that many passing yards. I mean, we need to. Russell Wilson will definitely throw. Going back to that St. Louis game, first quarterback ever to have 300 passing yards and 100 rushing yards in a game. Yeah, and in a losing effort, he's one special quarterback. Yeah, that's why he's the most winningest quarterback in the first three seasons of any QB in NFL history. Rushing yards per game, we obviously run heavy offense. We got 172.6, good for first. Carolina only gets 127.3, good for seventh. Points per game, we score 24.6, they get 21.2. 10th place compared to 19th. We obviously got the edge there. Offensive wise, we pretty much get the edge over Carolina. Special teams, our field goal log on the year was 58. Theirs was 53. Of course, we got one of the best kickers in the league, so obviously that's pretty much spot on winning in that category. And field goal percentage, we were at 83.8%. Carolina had 82.9. So we were 17th. Carolina was 20th. Field goals made and attempted, we were 31 of 37, while Carolina was 29 of 35. Punting wise, here's a detailed one. Carolina had to punt 72 times compared to our 61. We were tied for 6th, they were tied for 15th. The longest punts, also 72. Coincidence, craziness right there. They had 72 long punt, we had a 66. Theirs was tied for 5th, we were tied for 19th. They got the edge there. Punting average, there they just got the edge on us at 44.9. We had 44.1. They were 20th, we were 25th. Punting net, they had 37.9. That was good for 31st. Bottom of the league. Ours was at 40.2, good for 21st. Punts inside the 20, we had 28 of those, good for tied for 9th. Pretty much 45.9% of our punts were inside the 20. Carolina had 26, good for tied for 15th at 36.1% of their punts. Returning yards, they got the edge on us. They only gave up 239. We ended up giving up 252. But the average per return, ours was at 7. Theirs was at 8. So it was close there, but special teams wise, we ended up getting the edge season wise over them. Defensively, obviously we were first, but I'm just going to throw out the numbers just for the hell of it. Total yards given up, we were 267.1. They were 10th with 339.8 per game. Passing yards, we were first with 185.6. They were 11th with 227.8. Rushing yards, we were 3rd, while they were at 81.5, while they were 16th. at 112 yards given up. Points per game, obviously best scoring defense, 15.9 per game, while they were giving up 23.4, good for 21st. Interesting thing, the amount of points they give up, pretty damn close to the amount of points we get each game. So, anyways, interceptions, Carolina got 14, we got 13, they just got the edge on us. We were tied for 18th, they were tied for 14th. Fumbles forced, we pretty much, both teams recovered half the amount of fumbles that they forced. They forced 24, we only forced 20, and we recovered 10 while they recovered 12. You know, force wise, they were tied for second. Recovering wise, they were tied for sixth. Us, forcing wise, we were tied for 15th or fifth place, and recovering wise was tied for 15th. Turnover differentials, we got the edge on that. We were positive 9 at fourth in the league. Carolina was 13th with positive 3. Sacks, they got the edge on us. They had 40. We had 37. We were good for 20th. They were tied for 13th. Even though the last month and a half, about half of our sack total came there in the last 5-6 games. Defensive touchdowns, we both off of interceptions. Both teams had 2. Good for 16th. Tied for 16th in the league. Yeah. Opponents-wise, similar opponents. Carolina's 0 for 2, while we were 2 and 0. And I didn't throw it in, but since we played each other, you want to throw that in, I guess. Carolina was 0 for 3, while we were 3 and 0. Opponents that were above 500, ending season record of above 500, or at 500. Carolina ended up being 2-5-1 against those teams because of the Cincinnati game they tied in. We were 7-3. Teams that had a top 10 defense, Carolina was 1 for 3, while we were 4 for 2. And seeing how both teams were in the top 10 for defense, factor that in obviously. Defense that was 20th and below in total yards given up, below top 20 defense. Carolina was 6-3-1, while we were 6-0. Figured I'd just throw that out for the hell of it since I did the top 10. Teams that got above 500, or above 500, teams that got above 100 rushing yards, average-wise per game. Carolina was 2-7-1, record-wise against them. We were 9-3. Obviously got the edge there. Now a little bit of throwback record here. Since 2012, when Russell Wilson came into the league, Cam Newton, since that time, is 3-3 in primetime night games, while Russell Wilson is 10-1 in primetime night games. 10-0 at home, because the one loss came on the road his rookie season in San Francisco. So, anywho, hope you enjoyed the video. My final prediction for this game: Seahawks 27, no, not 27. Seahawks 24, Carolina 6. Because I doubt Carolina will be able to score a touchdown against our defense. They had a hard time doing it against Arizona last week. We don't give up big plays either. So that's my final score. And on a side note, because we are division champs, and at the beginning of the year, my first video, I said as long as we are champions again this year, I'd be growing my hair out for another year. And guess what? Division champs still count. So, bam, this is getting grown out for another year. Anyways, I will see you guys next week when we play either the Cowboys or the Packers.